Hello? What's that? Halloween have fallen upon us and I need to make a couple's costume from scratch that will ultimately torment me, mind, body, and soul? Yeah, right. Yes, you heard that correctly, and you have eyeballs that read the title of this video. Every year, I must make a couple's costume for me and my partner, because what else do you do with your himbo? Comes as a package deal. First year was the characters from It Takes Two. Next year, The Mummy. Next year, we did not go as a couple because Joe really just wanted a set of armor. And who was I to deny him that? So he was dressed up in armor, and I went as Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen. I crushed that, by the way. And last year was Laios and Marcel from Delicious Dungeon. But this year, I need to become one of the most iconic straight het couples. We're becoming Rapunzel and Flynn. I think Tangled is one of my top favorite movies, if not maybe my top favorite movie. So the plan. Luckily, I've already started because I have indeed found pretty decent fabric for Flynn Rider's doublet. This bad boy. Honestly, a decent color, and the fabric is a very good type of fabric. First of all, his doublet. Jesus Christ. I wish I looked up the pronunciation. There is no sewing pattern. There is something similar. However, it cost an arm and a leg. Just kidding. It was like, I think over £20. And for a sewing pattern, I wanna respect it. I do. But Jesus Christ, I am not spending that much money on a pattern I will use once. On YouTube, there are only 2 whole tutorials. So that's crazy. Not a lot to go off of. Next is satchel. I'm thinking of just thrifting a little like handbag and decorating it as is. If that doesn't happen, I guess I will just maybe at the end of the day to make one because how could it be that hard? Just a little satchel bag. Next will be the boots. I think I'm going to make fake boot covers. Something that can just slip on over some trainers. I think I already have some material for that will work. Everything else is fine. Like, I'll probably lend in this shit. Can't forget to pack the smolder, of course. Let's move on to Rapunzel. I have done, honestly, weeks, if not almost months of planning, and I have yet to come to some great plan. I'm gonna be real with you. Rapunzel's dress in real life is kinda uggo. It's a little ugly. On her, in the film, stunning. In real life, so I'm gonna just make a couple changes. Here's the issue. When I make things, I do want to make them so that I will most likely wear them again, so I can get use out of my money and my hard-earned craftsmanship. As if I'm a professional skilled at my work. So I saw this image that I think perfectly encapsulates exactly what I want to do that could still give off the vibe of Rapunzel. I'm gonna add the qualities of Rapunzel in the terms of, the color purple, the pattern that's all over her dress and or sleeves in the form of embroidery and or hand painting. I just need a lot of purple fabric, and I've been searching, but I have been struggling because I'm not made of money. I don't want to braid a wig because I think it's a little ugly. It would just look ugly on me, and I would much prefer to just do the original look of her with her hair down. Last things are props. Number 1, the frying pan. I will try making a fake frying pan, which hopefully shouldn't be too hard. Last but not least, but I would like to perhaps make a lantern handbag. I have no faith that I'm going to make that, but it sure would be cute, wouldn't it? A little lantern with a handbag. So, let's get into it. By using the only 1 out of 2 tutorials on YouTube, I had to just figure out this template all on my own, just by looking at the video and kind of just essentially figuring it out randomly. So I made my own template out of card. Finn's doublet thing has these little like strip lapels that separate part of the chest piece and the back piece. So I had to figure out like where that went, the shape. Now, because I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm gonna make a mock-up with some cheap fabric I don't care about. So I cut out all the pieces I could, pinned them together, got my husband to try it on multiple times, drew directly onto the mock-up on the mannequin, so I knew exactly where I wanted to take it in, etc. Hey, real quick, doesn't this kind of look like a trucker Flynn?
There's pins in them, silly. There's pins in them.
is the collar pattern I made. Again, also I just figured it out by looking at this tutorial on the screen. And these are the sleeve patterns I made. Again, by random. It is crazy how I'm just doing this right now. The lady in the video used an inner lining, so I thought, yeah, I should probably also do an inner lining. So I chose a dark navy blue fabric cotton for some inner lining, because I thought that would just be like thin, cozy, and the dark blue would match the outer blue. Now I noticed Flynn has a bunch of lines on his doublet, whether that's just a bunch of pieces sewn together or what have you, I don't know. But I'm not about to just sew a bunch of strips together, I'm not insane. If I just sewed a bunch of like lines, it would kind of give an imitation of lines without me having to just actually sew a bunch of strips together. So that's what I did. So here's the lapel pieces for the back and for the front, and in the person's tutorial, they flipped them, like they sewed them, flipped them over, and just ironed them down. However, for the life of me, this fabric would not iron down. Clearly, I have zero experience in this type of fabric I'm using, and had no idea that some fabrics just don't bloody iron. So I was struggling for my life, and I didn't know what to do. So I did with what I did know, which is hemming web, which melts a little bit when you iron it. So I thought if I put that in between it and then ironed it, maybe it would like melt it together. It kind of worked, but left it left a lot of mess, and I didn't like the mess. So despite it looking fine on the other side, I just thought, frick it, I'm just gonna sew it down, and so I did. So here's how the sewed lines turned out. I liked them. I think it added a bit of depth to the whole thing, which was nice. Here I am also adding lines onto the collar, because he also has those lines on the little collar that goes all the way around. So I'm trying to sew the inner lining to the inside of this whole thing, and this just became a little complicated, a little messy. Like, nobody ever sewed the inside, so did it really matter? No. Damn, these are some clean shots. I sewed the hem, the edge, alongside the collar and the sides, to give it that nice finish. C'est magnifique. So I officially think that these sleeve things are too short. I don't like it. They're too short. I'm gonna see if I can just change that real quick. So I've made them bigger, and I think it definitely looks better. I'm storing my hat on top of my mannequin, so it kind of just looks like soft Flynn Rider. I just now need to like it's like so wow, and then it's but next is the fastener, which look what I got for that. Would help, but Joe came up with a good idea to get these picture hooks. As you can see, they are like little brass hook things. So if I just hide the rest of, just like use this part to attach it to the thing and hide it, and this will be the hook, and I think that's pretty dandy. So need 5 fasteners, so I just need to make a bunch of squares, buy some buckle things, and add like studs all around, which I think I might use some split pins, push them in, and then like glue them on the inside. So that's the most I have to do right now, and then I can move on to something else. Oh, and I quickly and lazily added some belt loops because I forgot he had belt loops, but I just couldn't be bothered being neat about it, so messy belt loops. Alright, today is satchel day. It turns out no matter how much I tried, I couldn't find a bag in any charity shop to thrift, so I just thought, yeah, I am just gonna make it myself. How hard could it possibly be? I made the pattern myself out of just a couple of rectangles, some squares, and a very long strap. I found some dark scrap leather to use for the little scrap bits that are sewn on as if it's like, you know, a broken bag that's been mended, and I think they were a perfect match in my opinion. Found the perfect button, sewed that onto it, and then got to sewing everything on with some yarn I found. Just finding everything, huh? So, threading thick yarn through leather was going to be a nightmare, so I pre-made a bunch of holes, and it turned out it was worth it. The detail was worth it. Honestly, it turned out really good. And this is the final product. I am actually incredibly pleased with this. I don't think I've ever made a bag before. This is amazing, and looks exactly like it does in the film. All I need now was just a little button. The little button at the top to fasten it. Yeah, that's all I needed. Okay, so realized I made the cast of Joe's leg at an angle. So that didn't give me the correct pattern. But then I was like, I can just fix it. That didn't work. I'll just take another cast of this foot where his foot's flat. Did that. Cut it out. Doesn't at all now fit the pieces I've cut out already. And that was the last of the leather. So I'm just like, I don't want to have to buy more fabric after I literally just spent a lot of money on some. I don't know why, it just hit me that I'm like, well, what happened to that weird old leather I used to own? And then I was like, but didn't I put it in like a random box somewhere under my bed? And I was like, I'm going to go check. So I go check, and it's there. It wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of that weird old leather. However, there was more than enough of something else that I found. It's not like pleather or leather. It's like very thin. However, it looks, and there is a lot of it. That is freaking good. I'm making these freaking boots, baby. Got these new pattern pieces. Before he said he wanted to wear sketches, so I was going to cover like that, like a half, like a diagonal, where it just covers this will just cover the shoelaces. So this will go like this, and it'll just cover the shoelaces. And then I have to worry more about the leg, which is here. This is the leg. Bit leg. Also pray for me, please. So because the zips I'm using are completely different colors, because they're scrap zips I found, I'm kind of like pushing the fabric so that it kind of like moves over the zip and then sewing down it so that the fabric is like covering the zip permanently but does not prevent the zip from working. And that worked pretty darn well to just hiding the zip. Now, moving on to the buckle and fastener, I got those little paint hooks and decided that they were too big, so I literally used a pair of scissors and cut the metal hooks so that they were a bit smaller. Slotted them into these little like squares I made, and then hot glued that down, which turned out to be a bad idea. Don't use hot glue, use like actual good super glue with metal. I cut out a bunch of little strips, made another slot in the other squares, and wrapped the strap around the buckle before gluing it inside the little squares so that it was attached on. It's chemise day, and I am just lying down. Lying down? I am just laying down. I've laid down this lovely white fabric. I hope nobody comes and tramples all over. Oh no! The trampler! He's trampled on my but he's just so cute. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. Followed this lovely lady's tutorial on YouTube, and she gave a pretty decent guide as to what to do, and a simple template, so I made my own, made them to my measurements, and got to work. So we've hemmed the sleeves and the main bodice. So I guess what's left is gathering it all up because it's very long. It's very long. Tutorial said to gather it via thread, but I might do it via elastic so it can like stay on my shoulders. So that just means sewing a tunnel along all the top edge so that I could thread through some elastic, and sewing some more tunnels in each sleeve so it can create that multiple poof effect. Onwards. So I changed my mind and thought maybe I should try using elastic thread. I looked up a video on how to use it. I thought I should probably test it out on like some spare fabric first. This is me going over it multiple times, trying to test it out. Maybe I have to try and loosen the tension on my machine, which I've never done that, ever. It's actually quite a pain. And I think I finally yielded the best results. How did I yield the best results? Well, I kind of just put it on the machine, and as it started sewing, just kind of went, yep! Just like, kind of like yeeted it through. As you can see, the stitches are fucking huge, ignore the stain, because I yeeted it through the machine. Because I yeeted it through the machine, it made me like, see that? It made me like, oh, boing. Ooh, okay, boingo's gone. So let's see if that works. Elastic idea didn't work, but to create some progress, I added a little bit of lace all around the neckline and arms because Rapunzel's fit also has some white lace going across that, and I didn't want to attach that to the corset, so I thought it'd be nice if I actually attached it to the chemise so there's lace sticking out.
Christmas time means laughter, toboggans in the snow.
I feel like one of the ghosts of Christmas past. This is so silly. I feel so whimsical. Also, I dyed my hair today. That's why I look suddenly crisp. I feel like those angels that people put on top of their Christmas tree. Now I need to, like, elastic. Oh, that's cute. It's not holding its shape, the poof. The cups are adorable. Look how adorable these cups are. I don't know if I'll change those, but this, for sure, I will change. Dog, I could not believe I found the perfect button in my local, like, crafts and fabric shop. It's perfect, isn't it? I attached a bit of, like, elastic thread. Just a little basic little elasticness to keep it together, but, like, isn't that good? I wanted to use something strong to actually glue down the buckle and fastener. So I bought some Gorilla Contact adhesive and marked out where I wanted all of them to go, just so they were definitely even, and glued those bad boys down. Moving on to the corset, I reused the corset pattern I used for my Jester costume, but just slightly remade my own one, just so that the hem of the corset wasn't just like a bumpy little like thing, it was just plain, flat, even. Now on to the dyeing of the fabric, because I couldn't find a good enough purple, I had to make my own purple. So I bought some purple, I already had some red, and I'm gonna try and mix them together because I feel like her dress is more of a purpley red than just like plain purple. I did some swatches just to make sure I like the color, and once I liked the color, I got to dyeing. Yes. Into the boil they go. And I was pretty pleased with how the color turned out. I was a little worried it wouldn't dye it deep enough, but I think the color came out pretty good. In case I want to make the lantern bag, and for when I want to paint the skirt, I traced out on some paper the pattern for the sun lantern and patterns for all the skirt patterns. Here they are drawn out. I'm not really entirely sure how I'm going to turn this into a template without it falling apart, because this is paper and I'm going to be using paint, but I'll figure something out. Wish me luck. Ink The color I got, impressively really pink. Love it. This is the most frustrating thing I think I've ever done, because every single picture of Rapunzel's outfit I look at is just a new shade of purpley pink or purple. It's just every single image is a different shade. And clearly, based on all the cosplays I've seen, everyone else can't figure out the shade of purple she is. I think Disney can't figure out the shade of purple she is, because you'll look at a picture of her from the movie, and then there's a picture of her, like, say from, like, a game, where they've made a model of her in a game, and it's different. It changes, which is annoying. This is, like, the most frustrating thing ever, is just figuring out the goddamn shade of purple she is. I'm gonna try and dye this light purple fabric, and then that's it. That's all I can do. I just needed to rant about how genuinely frustrated I am. We're now dyeing that same white fabric again. Cause there's some leftover purple. I don't have any red anymore, so it's just gonna be this purple. I did like a tester strip. This is the tester strip, and then I dried it to see how it would look, so I can have an idea of how it should look wet. All right, it's not looking too bad. However, I didn't dye enough for all these corset pieces, which is really stupid, but luckily for me, I didn't drain the dye bath that I put in the sink. So, in some more fabric went. Yeah, so, just tried using my embroidery machine, and it's just destroyed the out of my fabric. That's great. I tested it on some other fabric, it worked perfectly fine. So I was like, great, it'll work perfectly fine. Nope, it destroyed it once, and destroyed it twice. So, I was hoping to embroider the corset so it had the nice pattern on it, and it would look nice. I'm all bummed out, because I don't know why it's not working. I guess the fabric just must be destroyable. I wanted it to look nice with the embroidery. I'm not gonna hand embroider it, because I like myself. I guess my only other option is to paint on a pattern.
So remember that template I made? Well, turns out I figured it out. I kind of transferred it onto card, genuinely cut out all the details onto the card, and then just started using that. I mixed some paint with some fabric softener, because I've heard that that's the best way to apply paint onto fabric to help it stay. And then made the most subtle color I could, because I didn't want it to be too bold, and just using a sponge just started blotting it all on. And once I was done, I put a tea towel over it, and on the lightest heat possible, went over that with an iron to kind of like seal it.
Okay, so honestly, I'm a little sad. I spent like so long like painting this fabric just for me to have to chop it off, because it was too big. It was too like large. So I spent a lot of time painting just to chop it off. And honestly, I'm a little sad. I'm gonna see if I can try and find a way to still incorporate these pieces. Because I didn't do all this for nothing. We'll see. Now I'm just adding the boning slots, whatever the fraggedy frick froon they're called. Also, I am like genuinely gagged at how well some of this stencil came out. Perhaps not everywhere, but they were just like... I'm just surprised that like I kind of just worked at all and did like a decent job. And like that's a pattern, you know? Like you can see that and you're like, that's a pattern. And it's like in some places kind of beautiful. And that's crazy. Because honestly, it's kind of ratty. So I didn't think it would work this well. But I am like genuinely surprised.
Here I am adding a zip to the back of the skirt and some white trim to go all along the bottom. Now at first I wasn't too keen on the skirt. I thought the obvious contrast of all the purples with like the light, the purple, the pinky purpley, and like the dark purple I used for the middle panel of the skirt. I thought it all looked pretty bad. I really wasn't happy with it, but I needed to crack on, so I left it. And then in the end, it eventually did grow on me, which is great. It may not look it, but this lace is dyed. I did try dyeing it because she does have pink lace at the bottom of her corset. That didn't turn out pink, but still actually turned out pretty nicely, I will say. I decided to make a panel piece that goes behind my corset to hold a little pocket for my glasses because I didn't want my glasses to ruin the look, but I wanted them to be close by in case I needed to be able to, you know, see. So I came up with this idea to make a little panel that can go behind my corset with my glasses in them. Here I made a bunch of little strips because I wanted to imitate those like slash sleeve medieval looks, and I wanted them to match the corset. So here I am painting these strips as also. I used the overskirt pattern to paint on the kind of like side panel slash hem pattern, floral pattern type thing, which I think turned out honestly incredibly. Like that was a tremendous detail that I'm very glad I made a template for. Otherwise I would have not have been able to replicate those patterns as well. So I liked how they were turning out so far, but I thought that they were kind of like sagging a little and not really holding their shape. So I then sewed on all these little like mini strips that remind me of some like medieval or Renaissance garments so it held it up, but it still kind of like fit the theme I was going for. I do also think though, looking back, I made them a little long. So later on you'll see that I do shorten the length of the poof sleeves. So I got a cheap plastic knife from B&M and I cut off the handle to use for the frying pan. There I am trying to put that piece back together where the knife slid in. And with some scrap black EVA foam, thick and thin, I just kind of went to town figuring something out on my own because again, for some reason there was no pattern to make your own foam frying pan. So of course I just wung it with a hot glue gun and some foam. And it didn't actually turn out too bad as I went along. Okay, that looks pretty nasty, to be fair. It was scrappy at first, but in the end, you'll see. Unfortunately, I realized too late that the frying pan was actually incredibly floppy, and it needed some sturdiness to it, some like foundation. So I created a frying pan shape out of wire and just kind of glued it on. And I threaded it into the handle and then glued the circle part on.
Listen up, sheeple! I got some bathroom sealant because I needed something to fill some of these gaps, but it's flexible. The meld definitely made it more sturdy. Wish I did it sooner, but hey. So we gotta cover this, and then I'll just fill in gaps with this. Fill in the gaps of the inside where I made a hole. I don't think I showed it, by the way, but I quickly made like a hole. I literally just used the hot tip of the glue gun to just burn a hole, and then I use some tiny scissors. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna Mod Podge it because I don't have any plastic because I'm not a mess. Paint it black, Mod Podge again. But if you can see it in the background, got some bloody got-to-be hairspray because every bloody wig stress in the goddamn world uses got-to-be a hairspray. So I got some you better believe I got-to-be hairspray. The shoes I ordered were shite. They didn't fit me, so I quickly popped down to Primark and got a cheeky pair of £5 nude flats, which are honestly quite perfect. I wish I just went there first. So we are just speeding along, sheeple, because I'm running out of time. We're running out of time. It's PTA. It's tits. Alright, so I'm just gonna get straight onto that.
So please bear with me, this is genuinely my first time ever styling a wig ever, and from tutorials I saw on TikTok and on YouTube, I got the cheapest crimper I could. I think it was like £5. Concerning, and yet it did actually a decent job at crimping. So I went to crimping the entire hair. I think the wig in total took 3 days. This took so long. I didn't know what I was doing. And so once I did that, I got to backcombing the whole thing. Backcombing the whole roots. I couldn't even backcomb everything. I had to just do like the roots alone. So at this point, after brushing it out, I thought it was going great. I thought, like, no, you'll soon see that when I actually tried on, it in fact was actually quite humongous, and I still needed time to work on it, but you know. I didn't want to do typical eyelets for the holes in the corset, so I thought I would hand embroider suns on every single hole. This now is the result of another day's work on the wig, where I am brushing and brushing and finning scissors, and here is the final product because I cannot work on this for any longer. Jesus Christ, but at least I do think it looks nice. It's happening, people! I am actually making the lantern bag. I did actually find time for this. So I used an inner lining as well as the white fabric to try and like toughen it up, make sure it actually has some shape, because this is meant to be a cylindrical shape, people. Going back to that sun template you saw me make, I thought that the tiny details were genuinely too small to cut out. They were too small, so I thought I could use this yellow paint pen to just draw the details on. And then I loved it, so I thought the color was so fine that I just used it for the sun as well, and I think it turned out incredibly well. I used a purple bag strap with some scrap fabric because, similar to the one I saw in Disney Tokyo, it makes sense that it would then blend in with the dress when you put it on. Look at that! The only reason this thing is keeping shape is because I had to put cardboard inside it. Also, with that same paint pen, drew some suns onto those puff sleeves, and my dog, it's so beautiful, it looks so cute! I actually really like the sun details with the purple, it's so lovely. Now, I don't like ballet flats, so I hot glued down some elastic so that they wouldn't fly off my feet and I didn't have to worry about that. And it worked pretty well, actually. Now, don't ask why I have a giant tub of fake blonde hair. I thought I'd whip this out to try and fix the exposed hairline that you can see on the wig, where you can see that it's clearly like where the wig begins and stops. So I thought I would just try and create a basic hair weft to glue on, so that where the wig is exposed, I can hide it with some fake hair. And it worked pretty well, considering, again, this is the first time I've ever done this. If you looked at it up close, it's nasty. But for a minimum distance, it actually worked pretty well at making the hair blend in. I thought I'd go with a pink fabric for the corset lacing because I believe that is similar to what Rapunzel's corset has. I think it does have pink lacings. So I sewed my own out of bias tape. In case I haven't mentioned it in the video, I am super happy with how this turned out. Insanely happy. I think it's beautiful. I'm like, that bag? I can just keep wearing that bag. I tried it all on a few days ago, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. I just hope I can survive the makeup and the wig because I'm so sensitive. Wish me luck. So I practiced some Chinese, very popular trendy makeup, trying like I think certain cosplays do to make your eyes look bigger. And with what I did like, I used this on the day. With me finally practicing the makeup and everything else being done. Oh boy, it is finally done for the reveal.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that because that was a whole 3 months for me. What a wild ride. That's crazy. I can't believe it's over with. Let's gather our thoughts, shall we? So with Flynn's outfit, didn't need to make a lot. The main thing I really needed to make was just that doublet and then the boot covers. That was kind of like it. That being said, man, was that doublet. Oh, that thing was so annoying. I mean, Christ, I started with no pattern. The pattern I created was by looking at my TV screen and just going, yeah. Yes, it's oddly impressive what I managed to create based on that method. Still wouldn't have liked to have done that method. Overall, I think it looks incredible. Moving on to props, they were actually incredibly easy. I'm talking about the pan and the lantern bag. Very easy to make because I just had majority of what I needed on me. So that's great. I literally just needed to gather the materials in my home and just crack on. I didn't need to seek almost anything out. No one prop took longer than a day. It's quite nice. I wish I had a Pascal. I didn't get one in the end because I just couldn't be bothered faffing about on eBay, and there's no way they had them in my charity shops. So in the end, I just didn't think that little detail was worth it, which is incredibly bloody ironic. A mum asked me to take a picture with her little girls, and one of the girls asked me, "Where's Pascal?" And I'm like, oh, someone will care where Pascal is, and it's a child. I'm like, not here. Only cons being that the panhandle gave me a little bit of jip because I didn't know what I was doing, and the lantern bag could have been sturdier. It just super wasn't sturdy. I just have zero experience in making bags. In the end, I just kind of shoved a bunch of cardboard in it. It is interesting to just start adding sewing recipes into my booklet of things I've never made before. And now that I've made them, I'm learning things. I feel like I'm just gathering recipes like I'm in a video game. Now, on to our favorite bit that everyone's been waiting for, the Rapunzel outfit, including the wig. Let's just say the cons will be bigger than the pros. So the pros. I do think it's beautiful. I do believe it's quite stunning. No? I just think the way I went about it, the little spin I put on it, just improved it significantly. And it was just, what I did was very subtle, but I just think it made a world of a difference to make the whole outfit look less costumey, more just historical. And lastly, I now own a chemise, and I'm genuinely freaking excited about that because I was contemplating for ages whether to make it purple because I was going to make it lavender. And then I thought about it, and as I mentioned in the intro, I do want to just make things that I will wear again. So I made it white. I'm glad I did. As you can see, I had a lot of fun in the chemise. Now, onto the cons. I'll start with the wig. Why is it bad? Why is it bad? Why is the rum always gone? I truly thought I was in a flow state. I truly thought I was really onto something here. And I tried it on. I was like, it's bloody huge. It still is huge. Looking back now, I probably didn't even need to do half of the I did. I just went the whole shebang. I didn't need to go the whole shebang. Maybe even a fifth shebang. Also the fact that it's not a lace front wig. It looks obviously very strange. I think when a forehead just has a straight line stops with hair, it's always gonna look weird. Decent first try. Decent first try though. The corset failed in multiple ways. 2 reasons it failed technically weren't my fault, which is nice for once. Because usually it is. I copied the pattern from the Jester costume. I don't know what happened. The pattern was just too big. Because it was too big, it didn't actually fulfill the length. It ended up becoming way shorter. And secondly, the embroidery. I wanted to use embroidery on it, and the embroidery machine did not like the fabric. I understand that whether it be the fabric or clearly me hand dyeing it made it just very stiff, etc. I just think that was just unfortunate, which is a shame because I think that would have been beautiful. I also didn't make the lacing holes like cave divers. You see that tiny little crevice and they're just they just pop right in. That was the holes in the corset. They would just challenge impossible for cave divers, for spelunkers. So overall, I spent a lot of money on this. Too much for someone with not a lot of money. And usually the silver lining is enjoying the Comic-Con, being recognized for my character, enjoying showing the costume off. Spoiler alert, the ends did not justify the means. But I spent almost 3 months on this, and then I spent only 3 hours at Comic-Con. Wow, we just kind of just didn't have anything else to do. I don't know, we looked at all the stalls, we ate, went to the other buildings, and somehow managed to just, I guess when you can't think of anything else to do, you just kind of think, could we go home? Hey guys, could we just stand around just for a while? I'm not gonna do that because that's insane. To be honest, it's made me a little sad and it's made me question, how do cosplayers do this? Because what I done was probably like the bare minimum of what cosplayers do.
Hello, Mr. Snuggle Buddy. Hello, Mr. Snuggles.
Overall, I'm either gonna try and find another excuse to wear these outfits, and or next year I think I'm really gonna dial it down. Unfortunately, at least I own a chemise, and I can probably reuse the wig if I can fix it. But despite that, the pressing part, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Purely here for entertainment, not for like actual advice, tutorialismness. Don't do that.
Think that. Don't say that.
I'm just entertainment. Like, I craft every day. I love to craft. I've nothing better to do but craft. It appears I've made a thing, but now I feel like I must continue. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Halloween have fallen behind us. I think the ace at Ace? Living in Delouville. I look like a farmer that shoots pheasants for dinner. My skirt was just my skirt.